this man is hungry, he's determined, and he's going to take it to the next level. And he's going to prove that out, like I said, July 19th. Manny, you know that. Freddie, you know that too.
With fight night fast approaching, Mario Barrios and his coach Bob Santos have turned up the heat and the trash talk.
You know, I was in that gym a long time, Freddie. I picked up a lot of things watching those camps with Manny Pacquiao right there, baby. We know a lot of things from there. I was in there every day watching him. And unfortunately for him, there's a lot of things we're going to bring to the table on July 19th.
In a fiery message to Manny Pacquiao's team, Santos declared, "We're coming, baby!" A bold warning that Barrios isn't just coming to defend his title, he's coming to end Pacquiao's comeback dreams in brutal fashion.
Of the things that I've seen with Manny Pacquiao, we're coming, baby. You know that, Freddie. I was there a lot of time, Freddie. We did a lot of time in there, in and around Manny Pacquiao. You know that, Freddie. And you know that too, Manny.
Santos even took it a step further, saying Pacquiao is headed either to the hospital or the cemetery, making it clear that Barrios' camp has no intention of giving the boxing legend a respectful welcome back.
Worthy? There's nobody more worthy of this opportunity than Manny Pacquiao, what he's given to the sport.
But Pacquiao, calm and composed, isn't backing down. At 46, he's been training with laser focus and trademark intensity, brushing off the threats with the confidence of a seasoned warrior. "I've missed boxing," he said, "but I never stopped preparing." With Pacquiao chasing history and Barrios determined to cement his reign, this clash isn't just a title fight, it's a generational war where pride, legacy, and power collide.
What did you know about Manny?
Nothing. He's a little guy, 112-pound former world champion. He says, well, you want to work out together? I said, yeah, no problem. After one round of mitts with Manny Pacquiao, I says, wow, this kid can fight. He had speed and he had power. And because I asked Pacquiao, did you go to any other gyms before this one? He says, Freddie, I started in New York and I came across the country and I stopped at every gym I could. And everyone else turned me down.
While Barrios and his team are firing warning shots, Manny Pacquiao remains unfazed, channeling the same calm intensity that made him an all-time great. Despite being 46 and away from the ring for nearly 4 years, Pacquiao has looked sharp in training, showing flashes of his signature speed and relentless footwork.
Manny was the first one that had those Nike boots, and they were fly, especially when I first saw him. And I was nervous as heck, asked him for some. He said, yeah, I'll get you some. The last day of sparring, I still didn't get my shoes. You know, I'm a little kid at this point. I look at my dad, I'm like, I need my shoes. He said, why don't you go ask him for? I was like, I don't want to.
Surrounded by a trusted team and training alongside fellow Filipino fighters like Mark Magsayo, Pacquiao has doubled down on conditioning and timing. He's repeatedly said he's not returning for money or fame, but for love of the sport and the desire to make history once again. If he wins, he'll become the oldest welterweight champion ever, breaking his own record.
I go in there, I'm like shaking. I'm like, hey Manny, get those boxing shoes for me? You know, he says, buddy, you didn't get your shoes? I said, no. He looks around, he's like, you can have these. And he takes the shoes off of his feet and he gives them to me. That's who Manny Pacquiao is.
But more than titles, Pacquiao is fighting to prove that greatness doesn't age, it evolves. With the pressure mounting and the spotlight burning, the legend is once again ready to silence doubters in the most Pacquiao way possible, through speed, heart, and war.
Manny was the next available opponent.
What are you thinking?
I told all the top-ranked employees, bet on Pacquiao, he's 60-1. I mean, you can't get a better odds than this. And they said, Freddie, your guy's gonna get killed. I said, what are you, crazy? I said, this kid is special.
I frankly had never heard of him, but I've seen and heard of him now.
But to truly understand the fire that still burns within Pacquiao today, you have to revisit the moments that tested his soul the most. None more defining than the stunning knockout loss to Juan Manuel Marquez in 2012. Manny Pacquiao and Juan Manuel Marquez faced off for the 4th time at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Their previous 3 fights had been razor close, with 2 wins for Pacquiao and 1 draw, But Marquez was never satisfied. He believed he had been robbed and wanted revenge. For most of the fight, Pacquiao was in control. He dropped Marquez in round 5 and looked to be gaining momentum. The crowd was roaring, sensing that Pacquiao might finally get a decisive win in their rivalry. But everything changed in a heartbeat. With just 1 second left in round 6, as Pacquiao charged forward, Marquez launched a perfectly timed counter right hand. It landed flush on Pacquiao's chin, and the Filipino legend collapsed face first, completely unconscious. The arena fell silent.
In the 6th round.
The once roaring crowd froze. Pacquiao didn't move for several seconds, sparking genuine concern. It was a stunning one-punch knockout, one of the most dramatic finishes in boxing history. Marquez had finally gotten his moment of redemption, and Pacquiao had suffered the most devastating loss of his career. Despite the loss, Pacquiao returned stronger and more determined in later years. But that night, the rivalry ended not with a decision, but with a thunderous right hand that still echoes in boxing lore. Long before that devastating fall, however, Pacquiao had already shown the world what he was made of, bursting onto the scene with a jaw-dropping upset that marked the beginning of his legendary rise. In June 2001, Manny Pacquiao was a virtually unknown Filipino fighter in the US, with no major hype or fanfare. At the last minute, he got a call to step in as a late replacement, just 2-week notice, to fight Ledwaba, the reigning IBF Super Bantamweight champion, on the undercard of an Oscar de la Hoya fight in Las Vegas.
Then you are in shape.
Pacquiao had never fought on that kind of stage before. Ledwaba, meanwhile, was considered one of the slickest and most technically skilled champions in the division, riding a long win streak and heavily favored by the odds. But what unfolded in the ring shocked everyone.
He took this fight on only 2 weeks' notice, only came here to...
You gotta fight.
From the opening bell, Pacquiao came out blazing with speed, power, and relentless aggression. He overwhelmed Ledwaba with blistering combinations, threw punches from every angle, and showed no fear. By round 2, Ledwaba's face was swelling, and by round 6, he had been knocked down 3 times before the referee stopped the fight. The upset was complete. A new star was born.
He had no idea.
Pacquiao may take care on the board.
What made this moment so special wasn't just the victory, it was how Pacquiao won. His ferocity, explosiveness, and hunger stunned the boxing world. HBO's commentators couldn't believe what they were watching. It was the night the world was introduced to the Pac-Man, a fighter who would go on to make history across 8 weight divisions.
5, 6, 7, 8.
That victory launched Manny Pacquiao into the global spotlight and started one of the greatest boxing careers of all time. Nearly 2 decades after the Ledwaba upset, Pacquiao was still silencing doubters, this time as a 40-year-old legend, proving he could outclass the new generation.
Almost a resignation in the eyes of Ledwaba.
In July 2019, Manny Pacquiao proved that legends don't age, they evolve. At 40 years old, with most fighters already retired or faded, Pacquiao stepped into the ring against undefeated WBA champion Keith one-time Thurman, a younger, stronger, and highly confident opponent. Thurman had mocked Pacquiao's age in the build-up, claiming he would retire the boxing icon for good.
Bit of a smile from Manny Pacquiao.
But once the bell rang, it was Pacquiao who delivered the shock. He dropped Thurman in the very first round with a lightning-quick right hand, setting the tone for the night. Throughout the fight, Pacquiao displayed vintage speed, relentless aggression, and ring intelligence, overwhelming Thurman with flurries, angles, and smart counters.
Thurman knocked down late in round one.
Thurman, known for his power and movement, began to rally in the middle rounds, landing solid shots of his own, but Pacquiao never backed down. The turning point came in round 10 when Pacquiao delivered a brutal liver shot that visibly hurt Thurman, forcing him to retreat and struggle through the round. It was a moment that symbolized the heart and grit that defined Pacquiao's career. Despite being the underdog due to his age and long layoff, Pacquiao outlanded and outworked the younger champion, showing once again why he's a once-in-a-generation fighter.
Before he talks, I want to prove something to him.
When the final bell rang and the split decision was announced in Pacquiao's favor, the crowd erupted. With that win, he became the oldest welterweight champion in boxing history, adding yet another layer to his already unmatched legacy. More than just a title win, the Thurman fight reminded the world that Pacquiao wasn't just back, he was still elite. It was a moment of defiance against time, doubt, and father age, and it stands as one of the most inspiring victories in the history of the sport. If you enjoyed this story of Manny Pacquiao's incredible journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more legendary boxing content.